Okay, so hello to everyone. Welcome. Bienvenidos a todos. Let's jump right in and let's get started with introductions. Vamos a comenzar con introducciones. Today, we just simply want to hear your last best elevator speech you can give us. And by elevator speech, I mean very short, very straight to the point. Who are you and what do you do? Right? We want to make sure that when you are out there presenting yourself, whether you move on to the pitch competition or you're talking to someone on the side, that you are very clear about what the problem that what is the problem you're trying to solve. Ok, hoy vamos a comenzar con lo mismo, vamos a introducirnos entre unos a otros, y hoy lo que quiero escuchar de ustedes es bien claramente tu mejor mensaje que le puedes dar a un extranjero cuando pregunten qué haces es introducirte bien claramente qué es el problema que resuelves, qué es lo que haces. En 10 segundos o menos, bien claramente lo que haces. Okay? And then the last thing I want to hear, because I'm just personally curious, let us know what town you're in. What county are you in? Y lo último, porque estoy curioso, solo quiero saber, déjanos saber en qué pueblos están o en qué condado están, um, para así entender de dónde, de qué parte de Nueva York venimos. So that way we know where each one of us are coming from in the state of New York. Sound good?
Great.
So Matt, you're the first one on my screen, so we'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Matt. I'm here in Elmira in Chemung County. And I am starting a coffee shop cafe called the Palace on the Corner that will also double as a sober entertainment bar at nighttime. So, we'll have DJs and dancing and all that with no alcohol and just coffee.
I love it. Entonces, Matt dice que está en el pueblo de Elmira, en el condado de Sherman, y él dice que está abriendo una cafetería. Él dijo su nombre, pero se me olvidó. Y la idea es que durante el día va a servir café, pero entonces la noche va a ser una barra que no es alcohólica. Y eso ayuda a estar abierto durante el día y la noche con diferentes clientes. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
El siguiente veo Rolando. Rolando, si me puedes decir tu nombre y claramente mostrar qué es el problema que estás intentando resolver, qué es lo que haces.
Pues mi nombre es Rolando, de la ciudad de Rochester, y pertenezco al condado de Monroe, y lo que hago es reparar casas, y lo que intento es ayudar a las personas y a resolver su problema de la vivienda. Y lo que hago es, cuando voy a comprar material en Home Depot, Lowe's, pues intercambio con diferentes personas mi teléfono, le digo lo que yo hago, si necesitan de mi servicio, o si yo los necesito a ellos, otra persona también, y siempre estamos en contacto. Siempre conozco nuevas personas.
Nítido, nítido. So Rolando shares that he's right here in Rochester in the county of Monroe. He's working with properties. I remember earlier that he had started out with roofing, but he's specifically expanding into any sorts of work repairs. And he says that he looks for his clients, especially among the vendors that he buys and sells from. Okay, next I have Amy. And Amy, if you can have your dog do it, that would be great. Okay.
My name is Amy, and my business partner is Lauren Birdsell, and we are opening Charlie's Canine Camp, which is going to offer boarding, daycare, grooming, training, and a retail store for any dog owners or up and coming. And we will be located in Ontario County in the city of Geneva.
Love it. Amy explica que está abriendo la compañía de Charlie's Canine Camp, donde se involucra en muchos diferentes tipos de servicios que te puedas imaginar para ayudar a tu perro. Ellos están incorporándose a la ciudad de Geneva, en el condado de Ontario. Thank you, Amy. Next, I see Kayla.
Hi, my name is Kayla Diaz. I'm located in the city of Rochester in Monroe County, and I specialize in making custom cakes for any and all events, whether it be a hyper-realistic cake or just something more traditional, and just offering a variety of flavors to you. Anything that you have in mind, you just present it to me and I can try to make it happen for you.
Thank you, Kayla. que le explica que está aquí mismo en la ciudad de Rochester, en el condado de Monroe, y se especializa en diferentes tipos de bizcochos, pasteles especializados por su cliente. Pueden ser de cualquier tipo de diseño. Lo único que tiene que mostrarles, si lo puedes hacer en dibujo, ella lo hace. Siguiente tengo a Marta.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Marta Monserrate, soy de aquí de Rochester. Eh, Mi compañía, ¿verdad? Que no se está dando como tal, pero se llamaría VEJ Cleaner. Eh, ¿Cuál sería ¿verdad? Lo que estoy ofreciendo? Obviamente, calidad, buena limpieza, buena comunicación con el cliente, puntualidad, iniciativa en cuestión de, por base a mi experiencia, si hay algo dañado, notificarlo, ya que muchas veces nosotros como empleados no lo podemos hacer, pero me gustaría tener una compañía que el mismo empleado dé ese paso en comunicarlo, está pasando esto, detallitos que como empleada pues he notado que no me ha gustado y me gustaría que mi compañía se diera ese paso de iniciativa, puntualidad y que todo sea pues al día en el sentido de que si hace falta algún material, se está acabando, pues ya con semana de anticipación ya se esté pidiendo. Muchas veces yo pido y vuelvo y lo repito y vuelvo, dejo mensaje y no llega, entonces pues empiezan con un complaint cuando realmente uno no tiene culpa. O sea, esos detalles que se ven pequeños son bien grandes para ese cliente. Y estoy aprendiendo en todo este adiestramiento muchas cosas que quizás tenía idea, pero no tanto como ahora, en cuestión de la calidad del material detergente, que si el vacuum de buena calidad, que sea industrial, muchos detalles que me gustaría tener en la compañía para ofrecerlo de esa manera.
Bien, gracias, Marta. So Marta shares that she is opening a commercial cleaning company, and she is currently an employee of a commercial cleaning company. And as an employee, she's learned to pay attention to details. And it is in those details she's learned a lot of character things like initiative, high quality, punctuation, and those are the kind of things that she wants her company brand to represent. So she is located right here in Rochester in the county of Monroe. Thank you, Marta. Next, I have Juan.
Hello, hola, buenas. My name is Juan. I'm located right here in Buffalo, New York. I'm a content partner and proud owner of JCCV Photography, where we strive to produce consistent and new photographic marketing content for print and social media platforms for small businesses like your own.
Can you try that in Spanish?
Oh boy. Okay. Hola, buenas. Mi nombre es Juan Carlos. Yo soy el dueño de JCCV Fotografía LLC, donde nosotros nos encargamos de crear y producir contenido consistente y nuevo de fotografía para plataformas sociales, plataformas sociales y de print.
Imprimir.
¿Impresa? No.
Imprimir.
¿Sí? Okay.
Thank you, Juan.
Gracias.
Next, Danny says impresión. Always go with what the interpreter says. Siempre hay lo que la intérprete diga. Next, I have Kimberly. Welcome. Kimberly, we're just sharing. We're practicing our best ultimate elevator speech after 12 times of doing this. So introduce who you are and then what is it exactly that you do.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Blockham. I'm from the Rochester, New York area. I'm trying to start a CNA/home health aid business where I'm providing care for elderly population and disabled adults. So we're offering services such as personal care, errands, laundry, light housekeeping, errands, light housekeeping, personal care, laundry, and light meal prep, and some services of respite.
Love it. Straight to the point with the menu of services. I like it.
Okay.
Kimberly explica que está aquí mismo en Rochester, en el condado de Monroe. Y se me olvidó decir que Juan está en Buffalo, en el condado de Erie. Anyway, so Kimberly explica que va a abrir una compañía de ayudante en los mismos locales de donde está el paciente en su propio hogar y ofrecen varios diferentes tipos de servicios que podrá ayudar al paciente. Next, I have Edna. Edna, I don't know if you're in earshot. Oh, there you are.
Good evening.
Hi.
I am Edna. I'm here in Rochester. So I'm going to be starting up a business with my daughter, Jalen Abrahams, who is also on with us. And we're looking to do Simple Pleasures, a business where we create specialized boxes. I usually do the gift boxes and Jalen does all of the special treats. And we just kind of put our talents together and present special packages to people that desire something special. Jalen can elaborate more on that.
Thank you, Edna. Are you here in the Rochester area, in Buffalo?
Rochester.
Got it. Thank you. Edna está aquí en la área de Rochester, en el condado de Monroe. Está abriendo con su hija en asociación una compañía de regalos hecho en cajita que es hecho especialmente diseñado por el cliente en eventos especiales. So next I have Jaylene.
Hi, my name is Jalen. I am also in the Rochester area, and I'm partnering with my mother, Edna, who just spoke. And we're starting a Simple Pleasures business where we'll just be offering different types of customized gift boxes and baskets, specialty treats, and we also want to throw in pop-up picnics and tea parties. That's another thing we're going to try to incorporate very soon.
Nice. As I was saying your name, I saw it said Abraham. I was like, oh, wait, that's the partner. That's the doctor.
Yeah. Thank you.
Angelina es la hija y asociada con Edna en la misma compañía que hacen cajitas especiales diseñadas para el cliente. Pero ella añadió que hay otros tipos de servicios que son impactados como ejemplo, eventos que ellos pueden crear también. Let's see who's next. I have Brenda. Brenda Rivera, are you near your computer?
Sí, hola, saludos, buenas tardes. La compañía es de housekeeping, proveyendo servicios residencial y comercial. Estamos comprometidos a proveer servicios de calidad, ya que llevo aproximadamente 10 años trabajando como Quality Inspector, y dentro de lo que conlleva calidad, pues va a ser Care, Clean and Commitment. Esto va a estar incluyendo Standard Operation Procedures y también vamos a proveer servicios para personas con condiciones médicas y personas de edad avanzada.
Nice.
Y soy de Erie County, Tonawanda.
¿En qué área estás?
Erie County, Tonawanda.
Tonawanda. Okay. Thanks.
You.
So Brenda shares that she is in the town of Tonawanda. Which Tonawanda? There's like North Tonawanda, and then there's this town. It's okay. But in Tonawanda, in the county of Erie. And Brenda is looking to launch a residential and commercial cleaning company. She has had heavy experience in the area of quality check, and she believes that this is the next step for her to be able to deliver on that same high standard of quality. Next, I have Xiomara.
All right, there we go. Hi, my name is Xiomara. I have a company called Green Mountain Insulation, or I'm getting a company, I should say, called Green Mountain Insulation. And my goal is to save the world by cutting down on showing people how to use energy and cutting down on using fossil fuels. I'm going to try it in Spanish because I haven't the other time. So, mi nombre es Xiomara. Tengo una compañía de aislamiento y quiero enseñar al mundo cómo usar energía.
I love it. Residencial o comercial? Residential?
Mainly commercial.
Okay. And where are you at?
In Monroe County in Rochester, New York.
Nice. Thank you, Xiomara. Let's see. I see people moving around. Jacoby, how's your mic doing?
I think I actually fixed it. Okay, so I'm Jacoby, and I plan to found a nonprofit farm in CSA that would provide fresher foods to people from marginalized communities that are experiencing food insecurity. And this nonprofit will serve the Rochester region to begin with the intent to expand.
Thank you, Jacoby.
Thank you.
Jacoby está aquí en la área de Rochester, está buscando crear una compañía que es non-profit enfocada en traer comida de alta calidad para gente que está experimentando inseguridad en la área de comida. Let's see. Next, I have Mariceli.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, my camera is not working at the time. So my name is Mariceli Marte, and our center is located at the Piano Works on East Rochester, and we equip and empower women of faith to break through any barriers that are preventing them from living a life of purpose and joy. We provide personalized coaching package to fit anyone's needs and desires. We offer one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and workshops to help identify and overcome barriers to develop healthy coping strategies and to build meaningful relationships with others. Our program will equip with the tools and guidance needed to learn how to rely on their faith to find peace and joy in the midst of life's challenges and to discover the path to a life of faith and fulfillment. And I don't know how to say all of that in Spanish. I should have translated that earlier.
I was about to volunteer you on that one. Let me do my best. Mariceli está al área de East Rochester en el condado de Monroe. Ella está abriendo una compañía de life coaching, si creo que escuché bien. Y la idea es involucrar mejor el aspecto de tu fe para poder promoverte hacia el frente en cualquier meta que te enfoques.
Yes.
Okay. Next, let's see. I see people moving around, so hopefully I'm not missing anyone here. Sherelle, how you doing? And that might be Fred.
I'm here. Hi, I'm doing well. Hi, my name is Sherelle, and I'm from Buffalo, New York. And my business is an event venue. It's called the Gift for Gathering, and it's a event space where people can rent it out for birthday parties, small weddings, repasts, baby showers, and other events.
Nice. And Sherelle, are you, what area of New York State are you in?
Oh, I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Okay. And
Yes.
do you have a physical location, or are you going into spaces to do the decorating?
Oh, well, I would have like a vendor. I have a friend, she does decorating, and she does cakes as well. So I'll be working with her.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, explique que ella en la área de Buffalo, en el condado de Erie. Ella tiene una compañía, está lanzando una compañía de eventos y va a ser un local en asociación con otra compañía que se involucra en los postrecitos para poder crear la mejor memoria posible para sus clientes. Next, I have Gilo. Gilo, I don't know if you're near.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I'm currently on the bus right now.
Hey, Gilo.
So my name is Gilo Leonard. I'm from Rochester, New York. Yes, in your time, right?
Kind of. It's a little low.
Let me try. How about now?
A little better.
Okay, it's a little harder for me now because the bus stand is on, so I can't really hear you guys. But my name is Gilo Lemon. I'm from Rochester, New York, and I'm a business partner to a clothing brand named Bevelware. And we're right now heavily on social media, and our website is up and running. And then that's pretty much close to it. What we're looking to gain is just more ways to grow and more strategies and more skills that we can implement into the business so that we can take it to new levels, because we don't want to be at the same level that we're at now. We want to be able to be one of the top tiers clothing brand that's out there, the big names. So.
Nice. Thank you, Gila. You should totally put up your link on the chat to let us know. And actually, that's an invitation for all of us. If you're already live selling, please go ahead and on the chat type in your link or the social media that you're using to let us know about your software. Estaba explicando que si ya están vendiendo, ya su negocio está abierto, por favor pongan el link de su página de web o cualquier red social que estén utilizando para nosotros poder seguirlos y ayudarnos unos a otros. Ahora Gio le explicaba que eres un asociado en una compañía de ropa. Las ropas son diseñadas individualmente y se vende en online. Él está aquí en la área de Rochester, el condado de Monroe. And last, I see Anita. Okay, she writes, hello, my name is Anita. I'm in the planning stages. My business will be a nonprofit community farm from farm to table, and I'm located in Buffalo, New York. Anita explica que ella es el área de Buffalo, en el condado de Erie, y está comenzando una non-for-profit, una compañía donde se enfoca en traer comida de granja directamente a la mesa. Thank you, Anita. So before
Did you get Fred?
Oh yes, Fred came in a little later. Fred, how are you doing? Let's see, Fred. Oh, there you go.
Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
so what we're doing is we're gonna give our best elevator speech. Doesn't have to be long. If anything, the shorter the better. Because the idea is to be as clear as possible. Now, if I was a stranger, how quickly and clear would I learn that what is it that you do and what problem are you solving for me? Fred, can you go ahead and share about your business and what is that you do?
¿Me oye?
Sí, te escuchamos. Oh, lo siento, yo hablándote en inglés.
No, te entendí bastante, disculpa. También
Okay.
estoy practicando el inglés, lo necesito como quiera. Mi nombre es Fred Ferrer. Estoy comenzando el plan para abrir una pizzería, un estilo diferente. Vivo en Rochester, New York, pertenezco al condado de Monroe. De verdad, honestamente, es mi primera experiencia, es un sueño que he tenido toda mi vida y es la primera vez que me estoy orientando y estoy pues, aprendiendo de todo lo que escucho y cogiendo lo mejor que puedo adquirir para poder desarrollar mi negocio. Y de verdad, pues, estoy bien contento, pero no es fácil, pero estoy aquí cumpliendo para poder tratar de llegar a ese punto.
Pues bien. Fred shares that he's right here in Rochester in the county of Monroe. He is looking to launch his pizza business, but this pizza business he wants to be able to have the consumer have access to it in different ways. And previously he has mentioned about how it's a cone pizza, which is a favorite way of being able to eat a piece of pizza in the coast of the island of Puerto Rico. Thank you, Fred.
And then Grace left a message in the chat, but if Grace, if you want to introduce yourself again.
Yes, hi, Miss Ian. So my name is Grace. I'm starting a nonprofit called Rising Daughters. And some of the focuses will be on young girls and women in education, parenting, unhealthy relationships, youth justice, and prison ministry. And I'm also hosting an upcoming workshop with Urban League. So that's my good news.
Nice. Make sure that you include the link in there so that we can register to it if you happen to have access to that link. Grace explica que ella está en la área de Rochester, el condado de Monroe. Está abriendo una non-for-profit que se llama Rising Daughters. Está enfocada en jóvenes y mujeres en la área de educación, de parientes y de relaciones y justicia en tal. Ella explica que ya va a tener su primera webinar en asociación con el Urban League aquí en la área de Rochester. So now, before we transition to our speaker today to talk about the subject of operations, and we're going to have our subject matter expert, Jamar, here again, we want to highlight and take care of some quick ground rules about what is next after we're done today. So, antes de continuar con el curso y invitar a Jamar que continúe hablando sobre las áreas de operación, vamos a hablar un poquito sobre el tema de qué vamos a entonces hacer siguiente desde aquí, ya que hoy es el último día del curso. So, notarán que en la página que estamos utilizando, el Google Site, tenemos una área, we have an area called the Pitch Competition. Tenemos una área que se llama el Pitch Competition. Aquí vamos a tener, here we're going to be able to share all the information for April 25th. Aquí nos vamos a tener toda la información para el día 25. This is in partnership with the local Rochester Hispanic Business Association. Esto en asociación con nuestro asociado, el Rochester Hispanic Business Association. And here we will have all the tools necessary for you to feel ready and successful for this presentation. Y aquí vamos a tener todas las herramientas necesarias que creemos que vas a necesitar para hacer un éxito en tu presentación. You'll note that we have a presentation slide deck. Vas a notar que tenemos Danny always says the word for this one, but I always forget what it's called. But the slides que se van a utilizar para la presentación y no es mandatorio, pero es ayudante. It's not mandatory, but it is helpful to be able to use these slides. They include all the questions that the judges are going to be looking for. Incluye todas las preguntas que los jueces van a estar buscando. In addition, we also included the judging criteria right here. Incluimos hasta lo que los jurados van a utilizar para hacer sus decisiones en quién recibe la beca y quién no. Now, if you're looking to move forward, si estás buscando en seguir, si queremos juntarnos este jueves que viene y estoy listo para tratarlo este martes, then we need you to sign up. So right here, we have a form where we just ask for your name. Aquí tenemos un formulario donde necesitamos tu nombre. And make sure that up here where it says agree, aquí arriba donde dice aceptar, that you click on that. Put your name and submit. This is only for those who wish to move forward into the pitch competition. Esto es solamente para los que estás interesado en continuar y seguir trabajando para el business pitch competition. As a reminder, it is a presentation. All you colleagues are going to be here. We're going to be here, but we're not going to be the ones judging. It will be a local board association. Para sumerar, va a ser una presentación aquí misma virtual. Todos tus colegas van a estar aquí presentes, nosotros mismos aquí en Ibero también, pero no vamos a ser los que van a juzgar, sino es una asociación que va a ser el que va a juzgar quién va a recibir la inversión y quién no. If there are any other further questions, we could talk later more in detail after the course. Si tienen más preguntas, podemos hablar en más detalles después del curso. And remember that you always have one-on-one access with any of us in the team here at Ibero. Y recuerden que siempre tiene acceso para tener conversaciones uno a uno con cualquiera uno de nosotros aquí en el grupo de Ibero.
Can I just tell you that was super helpful? I actually reached out to Christy and I spent 2 hours with her yesterday on the projection sheet, and I cannot understate this. Use them. Like it made it so much easier to understand. She spent 2 hours and we walked through it and it was just a crazy difference.
Nice. Xiomara explica que ya ella tomó el provecho y trabajó directamente con Christy en sus proyecciones financieras y ha sido un ayudante tremendo. And Tanya, can you remind us the name of the gentleman from SCORE that is also volunteering to have one-on-one attention for financial projections?
Yeah, that's Dave Richards. He'll be here again this evening. And I can put his email in the chat again as well.
Thank you, Tanya. Tanya va a poner el nombre también de otro consultante que así gratismente va a poder ayudar, así como Christy ayudó a Xiomara en las proyecciones financieras de su parte de negocio. Ok, without further ado, ahora los que quieren ahora escuchar todo en español de aquí adelante, recuerden que abajo, al lado donde dice share, aprieta el botón que dice English y cámbialo a español para poder escuchar a Dani con la interpretación. And Jamar, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. It's good to see you all again. I think learning from you all last week, I was very inspired to hear all of your dreams and the opportunities that you guys are going to have for yourselves. Whatever support I can give in my role, I am there to help out. So today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite things. I've spent 20 plus years is in operations, and operations to how it affects the entrepreneur. So my name is Jamar Myers. I'm an adjunct professor of business at Roberts Wesleyan. I am also the director of community engagement at a newly found school called the Golisano Institute for Business and Entrepreneurship. For those of you who are interested in going into business, I please ask that you take my phone number down. Please call me. The Institute has a wonderful scholarship opportunity for all of you if you want to basically get a better MBA style education at basically a quarter of the price. My phone number, if you want, is 585-456-4818. Again, 585, thank you, 456-4818. And if you want to learn more about the Golisano Institute, please let me know. Or if you just want general advice or me to look over something, I'm there. Thank you. You can scroll. And I want to start off first with, everyone who starts an entrepreneurial venture wants to be successful, okay? And the purpose for today is to learn about operations in business. I put some bullets on the screen when we talk about operations. Operations is where success lives, okay? Operation is where success lives in your business. It is about doing the little things consistently right. When you do those things, you create more value. As always, your customers are happy and less money is wasted. Thank you. So the focus for all of you guys when it comes to daily operations is to generate a profit, right? That is the reason why all of you are going to business. You want to make money. But I used the reference before last week. You can make a lot of money, but you can also go broke making a lot of money. You can be in debt when you made a lot of money. I've seen it happen, okay? So with operations, your goal is to generate a profit. Thank you. So we're going to talk about some key things today. One of those things is the basic business operations for all of you as entrepreneurs, business owners. Some things that all of you will have to consider if you have not done so already I know a lot of you guys are in like various stages of your business, but you definitely have to make sure that you iron out your business legal structure. That's part of operations. Your physical operations, and there are a slew of different things that impact your business physical operations. And then more importantly, this is what causes a number of businesses to fail, people to go to jail, you know, lots of different challenges, is understanding the regulations and guidelines, legislation, everything that impacts your business. Okay, we see a lot of celebrities who own businesses. They, you know, Ronald Isley, who went to jail for failure to pay taxes, right? There's a lot of different things. There's celebrities right now who are getting sued for, you know, saying that this particular trade is better or this currency is better, right? So you want to make sure that you understand everything it is about your business. The inputs, the operations, and the outputs. Thank you. When we talk about the business legal structure, your legal structure, all of them have advantages and disadvantages, right? The right choice for you should match the purpose of your business and any related tax and liability issues, okay? You have to make sure that you set up the business that best serves you, your legacy, all those things. And there's lots of different structures. You have the sole proprietorship. You have a partnership business structure. And there's two different forms. There's limited and then there's general. You have a corporation like Enron or Xerox, those are corporations. There's small corporations and then there's large corporations. And then there's something called an LLC, limited liability corporation. So when you look at the screen, the picture where it says the type of business structure, it talks about the ownership, your personal liability. And that's what you have to be concerned about. If you own just like you own your home, somebody slips, the mailman is delivering mail in the wintertime and he slips, he or she slips on your sidewalk, you know, who's liable for that? The documents that's needed. What are the tax implications for your business and for you? And the management of your business. So for example, those of you who are just going to open a business by yourself, you can do a sole proprietorship, which means you are the only owner. With that comes some personal liabilities that you have to consider, as well as tax considerations. And who's going to manage your business? You. We can scroll down. So as we talk about the physical operations of your business, you have to make sure you understand and accept your liability that comes with it, your legal financial responsibilities, and when and where you're going to have that physical operation. Your business physical operation, first of all, includes your location. So your brick and mortar type of building, or if it's online, any of those things. the processes that go with that. That's key. Your resources and other tools you need to transform your inputs. And if you can, guys, you can make sure if you have questions, put it in the chat. Thank you. When it comes to your physical operations, you've already tackled your legal structure. So all those things that impact your ownership style, whether it's shares, which is a corporation, or a partnership agreement, which is you and there's a sister sibling group, that's a partnership that you'll have. Now you have to ask yourself some questions. When it comes to the location, what are the costs to rent that location versus the cost to lease or the cost to buy? Right now in the city of Rochester and in Buffalo, I'm aware of Buffalo, they have funds available to purchase buildings. And sometimes you get a tax credit if the building sometimes needs repair or is not in the best neighborhood. When it comes to your employees, you have to ask yourself some questions. Do you need employees? How many? And in what job function? Part of your operations plans should include the job descriptions for everything that's in your business in order to make it work. Your maintenance person, or if you have a cashier, your roofer, your delivery driver, all those things. How much you're going to get paid, all that is part of your operations. Then you have to consider, is that person going to be full-time or part-time? Do you need a sales force? And then what are the advantages and disadvantages for both of those options? And your employees, your labor is one of the largest costs of your business. So you really have to think about that. And I want to call out professional assistance. You know, some things to consider, questions is, do you need a lawyer? Yes. Do you need a bookkeeper? Yes. Right? Things like that you have to consider when doing your operations plans. Your equipment. Should you lease the equipment? Should you rent it? All those different types of things that impact your business plan. Thank you. When we talk about business regulations and guidelines, there are lots of different laws and regulatory requirements that you need to know about. You also need to make sure that it's included in your operations. Most of the laws, they're meant for your own benefit. Okay, something happened at somewhere else, and therefore there's a law that's created of that. At Tim Hortons, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tim Hortons in the city of Rochester. One of the workers, the mom, couldn't afford childcare. Unfortunately, she brought her young kid to the Tim Hortons, and while she was working, her child went outside. He left the establishment, and it's a baby, I think it was like 3, and he fell into a grease trap. And they were looking for this young man, and unfortunately, he died, he drowned, right? And that's on the news. And so that created some other legislation, some additional guidelines that businesses now have because of that. Many of the regulatory requirements, they exist at different levels. So federal requirements, state, and local. That's why, you know, you always got to make sure that you have a lawyer or you're getting that professional advice. And please remember, it is your legal responsibility to be aware of the guidelines and any changes in tax laws and regulations that impact your business. There's something that's called ignorance is not an excuse of the law, right? So you can't, something happens, you can't say, well, I didn't know. It doesn't work like that. Thank you. So in your operations, I want to go over some key things from the federal government, the state, and local government. So in your operations for the federal government, everyone needs to have an EIN, an employer identification number. And it doesn't matter what business structure you have, you need to have this. And so this allows you to get credit for your tax payments, as well as it identifies you to the government. It is issued by the IRS. So when you are going to meet with a lawyer or whoever's helping you structure your business, this is something that they should be able to help you do. Next is that I-9 form that I'm sure many of you have filled out. Right? What is that I-9 form? If you have employees, you need to complete the I-9 verification form. And it's your responsibility to do that, to verify that that person, that your employee is eligible to work in the US. That's what the I-9 form is. If you don't do that, there is an exorbitant fine that you will pay as a business owner. And the last thing you need is another government body looking through your documents. From a state level, you need to register your business. And you're going to register your business with the Secretary of State. Not the US Secretary of State, but your own state. That allows you to be able to conduct legal business in New York State or wherever state you are from. Keep in mind that most of these things, there's a fee. So you want to factor that fee into when you're creating your business. Another thing is your license to collect tax. If you sell a product, your state, New York State especially, imposes sales tax on everything. And you have to make sure that you are collecting that sales tax. Thank you. From a local standpoint, from Rochester, Elmira, Buffalo, when you do your business, your operations are impacted by their rules and regulations. So you have to make sure that you check in with the local government. So one, you need a DBA. You're doing business as. Right? You can get a DBA, go open up a checking account, a business checking account. And then you can start the process of making your business legal. There's all different types of permits you will need to get. And, and make sure you consult a lawyer with all of these things to make sure that everything flows correctly. You do not want anything holding you back or causing penalties to you. Some things to keep in mind, especially when it comes to taxes, is that the legal structure of your business, along with the products and services you offer, determines the taxes you must pay and how you pay them. So just make sure that you understand all those regulations and things that impact your business. Thank you. The role of business operations is so important. It has the role of sustaining your organization by driving organizational excellence. Right? There's lots of different businesses. You look at a Wegmans store, their operations, right? They've perfected an operation that allowed them to go from a pushcart produce place into a company that has billions of sales for a limited amount of stores. And it's because of their operations. How do they operate as an organization? Thank you. When it comes to operation, it's not enough, like I said, to have like a blueprint, right? You have to implement it, okay? In your operations, you should be considering, are you creating value? Synergies, right? Does it come from the offerings and your customer interactions? How many of you guys have gone into a place to where their operations, like, excuse me, I'm gonna say the place. I went to Dollar General and I wanted some laundry detergent, right? They had so many carts in the aisles that I couldn't even get through to get the laundry detergent. And when I asked somebody to help me, they were worried about somebody stealing, right? So I'm like, now I gotta drive way across town to another store to go get some laundry detergent. Because of that, their operations just was not good. Thank you. And with your operations, know your capacity. You want to estimate your demand and sense your magic number. I'll use the example of when I go on Facebook and I see everybody who's selling dinners. And they're like, oh, wow, I sold out. I sold out selling 50 dinners. From an operational standpoint, I'm like, why? Why are you celebrating that? What plans in place did you have to make sure that you had enough inventory to sell more? Right? So know your capacity. Do you know your revenue drivers in your operations? At Wegmans, I'll use that because I worked there for almost 20 years. You know, we have drivers in the store, right? There's a lot of products that actually lose money. A can of corn, it's sold for 78 cents. The profit on a can of corn is 3 cents, 3 pennies, right? But if I go buy that rotisserie chicken, right, the profit on the rotisserie chicken is $4, even though it costs $5. So know your drivers. Therefore, I'm going to push the heck out of rotisserie chickens. versus corn. Determine your capacity. What is your break-even analysis? You guys should be working on this when you do your financials. And then how can you extend your demand over time? And is your operations designed to meet the demand of tomorrow? What are you doing to plan? Thank you. And this is why I love operation. I so much love operations. Is because you can design it and implement it so well. You know, everything in your business should be mapped out. And I hate to use a Wegmans example, but in a produce department, I actually know how long it should take for one of my employees to come from the back of the building in the stocking area with a package of mangoes to the front of the department and stocking that. I actually know how long it takes, right? I mapped that out. Well, I didn't do it, somebody else did it. But mapping your process. You go to Subway, everything flows at Subway. Understanding all your inputs, throughputs and outputs. Where are the bottlenecks? You know, in the restaurant business, the bottlenecks will come when people are bumping into each other, right? Maybe things need to get spread out more. Your equipment, your space, the design of your places, the layout. We talk about managing as an operations, you manage your square foot. You should know how much square feet is in all of your businesses, those that are brick and mortar. All of that square footage should be used to maximize profit. And that depends on the hours, the shifts, your producers, your suppliers, all that goes into effect. In operations is not about doing it one time. You have to do everything consistently all the time. McDonald's, they make the cheeseburger. They got a process in place to make that cheeseburger. No matter where McDonald's you are, you know, if you go to McDonald's in Georgia to McDonald's in California, you say, I want a cheeseburger without any alterations. You're gonna get that same cheeseburger. Consistency. Thank you. When you're mapping your operating process, figure out your order entry, your order processing and fulfillment, meaning the customer is getting whatever it is that you're servicing. That's what fulfillment is. You're fulfilling your promise. If there's any production involved, if there's any delivery, what are the customer billing cycles or payment process? Your product usage. And one of the things I hate is returns and claims. You have to figure out all these things when it comes to your operations. Go ahead, sir. So those of you who have production-based businesses, like making the boxes and the things that go with it, or the service delivery, right? Consider the things that go into your own operation plans. The assembly and service delivery time. That should be included in your cost of goods or your cost of service, where you're not cheating yourself out of pay. What is the lead time from your key suppliers? What is the demand distribution? Your consistency of demand. If it's nice warm weather, you're out fixing roofs, it's going to be busier that time frame versus in the wintertime. Your inventory policies. The scheduling of your orders. And again, that shipping process, right? You should be passing the shipping costs or delivery costs to your customer. Or one way that you can offer in your operations is an incentive. If your customer does take your service, you will waive that fee. Thank you. And think of your operation in terms of a franchise, right? When I do my restaurant, I don't want it to be franchised unless I'm the franchisor, but I want it run as if it's a franchise, right? There should be systems in place everywhere. I know all the activities that go into my inputs. I'm checking for consistency and quality. And remaining disciplined to all the process. Thank you. And with all of your businesses, especially the ones that are brick and mortar, you have to think of it in 2 stages. The front stage and the back stage. What people see and what people don't see. Okay, that's what I mean by the front and the back. In dealing with the front, your operations has to include everything that the customer is exposed to. As soon as they walk into your establishment, better yet, as soon as they meet you as the salesperson. You know, how do you look? That should be part of your operations. A uniform, a name tag. Are you presentable? And then the backstage, right? The things that customers don't see. But that's just important for your operations because that may cause inefficiencies with your employees. Thank you. And I use a restaurant example, but from a customer standpoint, for all of your businesses, housekeeping, the bar, the coffee shop, the event planning business, the pizza place, right? All of your things from a customer standpoint, think about how you're going to map your operations, the signage that goes into that, your windows, the parking. You know, there was a restaurant that I was at where in front of the restaurant door, somebody leaves a can of cat food to feed the neighborhood alley cats. Right. And so when I walk into it, I'm like, ah. But then from an ownership standpoint, it's like, ew, is that sanitary? right? So you want to make sure that you do these things. Your greeting, the seating atmosphere, right? All these things you want to map out for all of your businesses. So take some time to consider all the things that impact your operations. Housekeeping, the housekeeping businesses with the elderly and the disability, right? What are some of the things that you can use that can help streamline your operations? Thank you. And I know we go to 7 o'clock, correct? Perfect. So this is where I'll leave it off, is managing your experiences. Your operations should include managing experiences, because the good experiences cause repeat business. The bad experiences causes me to call 5 people to talk about how that drink I had at the bar was all watered down. I ain't never going back there. So thank you guys for the opportunity to present in front of you all. You have my number. Please don't hesitate in reaching out. Noches.
Thank you. Great details, Jamar. I love all the details on the operations. Thank you.
And if anybody, are we able to share the rest of this, the Spanish and the English version to anybody who wants it? Thank you.
Yes, and they're actually in here in our Google site. So now, as we transition, I just want to remind everyone to please leave an evaluation for Jamar. It's right here under the right over here where it says evaluation. And you'll be able to just plug in the name of the teacher, your rating, and your comment.
And thank you all, and I wish you good luck for those of you, particularly too, who are going on to the business competition. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Jamar. I'll follow up with you.
Thank you.
Now we'll take a few-minute break, and how do you think we can take it?
I would say till maybe 7:08, 7:09. Okay.
Sounds good. We'll see everyone at 7:09.
Thanks, everyone.
Hi, Dave.
How you doing, Tanya?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
What would you like Augustine to pull up first?
I think let's go back to the template because I think the more we go through it, the better it is for everybody.
Okay. Sounds great.
While we're getting the template up, does anyone have any questions about their efforts to work with this template that we can answer for you right now? Great, so this is our starting point, or actually not the starting point, it's the directions really. And as you can see at the top in the orange, you can input who's preparing this projection, what your company day is, what your starting month is, and what your starting year is. So then if we go to tab number 1, these are the expenses that we're going to have before we even open our doors. The fixed assets are at the top. Operating capital, or working capital as some people may call it, follows that. And then we have the sources of funds that we'll have to support those startup expenses. Amy and Lauren and I were working on this particular page recently, and you'll find if you put or try and change something that's not in a row or column that you're allowed to, it will sort of screw up your calculations, and it will also show up red in the column where you tried to make that change, just to let you know that an error has been made. So why don't we do an example? Let's say we're not going to be buying real estate or land or building, but we're going to be leasing. And in our storefront, we need to do about $25,000 in leasehold improvements. Those are improvements that we're making to property that we don't own. So we'll put 25,000 in leaseholds. And we're going to be a restaurant, so we need a lot of equipment. We need refrigerators, we need stoves. Let's say we need $50,000 worth of equipment. And then we need to have where people are going to sit to eat. So we need tables, chairs, and other items like that. Let's say that's $10,000. And we do have a food truck associated with our restaurant business. So we need to have the actual food truck that's going to cost us $15,000. So that's our total fixed asset purchases prior to us opening our business, our restaurant, is $100,000. So then we go to the next section, which is operating capital. Those things that we might have to pay ahead of time, again, before we're open. When you go to your insurance agent, he's probably going to ask you for a couple months premiums up front. So let's say that's maybe $500 for the 2 months.
How much?
Say 500.
Sure.
And in the restaurant business, we're going to need lots of inventory. So maybe that's $15,000. We formed an LLC, or we're planning to form an LLC. So we're gonna need legal expenses of, say, $1,500. My landlord wants to collect a security deposit, so he's gonna take my first and last month's rents up front. So let's say that's $2,000. RG&E won't give me my electric and gas unless I give them a deposit. So let's say that that's $250. I really included my supplies in my inventory number, so I'm not going to put anything in the supplies category. But I do want to have a big promotion for my grand opening. And I'm going to. Yep.
Sorry, can I ask you a question between that? I was just about to ask between inventory and supplies.
Right.
So for instance, materials that I would need to purchase beforehand for installation, I put those under inventory and then left supplies 0 like that, or should I put that under supplies and leave inventory 0?
Yeah, I think you flip that around.
Okay, so put it under supplies and then
Yep.
leave inventory 0.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So we're doing our grand opening promotion, and I got to get some airtime on TV or radio or whatever. Let's just put $2,000 in there. I need some licenses, but like the health department's not going to charge me for that, so I don't need to do that. Working capital down below on line 29, cash on hand. You're going to want to have some cash in the cash register before you open. So maybe that's $300.
How much?
300? So now we see we need 21,550 in operating startup capital and $100,000 to fund our fixed asset purchases.
Can I ask
So
a
we're-
question?
Sure thing.
I'm still stuck on the inventory versus supplies. Wouldn't inventories be like well, I mean, supplies I would think would be things that like you were talking about a restaurant, so that would be napkins and toilet paper and things like that, cleaning supplies. Inventory, wouldn't that be something a little different?
That's correct. So inventory, you would include some of those things you mentioned, but things that aren't necessary for the sale of food or beverage would go in supplies. So your office supplies, your cleaning supplies that aren't related directly to the sale of your food or beverage would go in that category.
So inventory is stuff that you could profit from, whereas supplies, it's stuff that's your day-to-day upkeeping of your business.
That's correct. Yep,
Okay.
perfect. Yep. So now we go down to where we're going to get the money to get this restaurant off the ground. And the banker says, I want to have 20%. So 20% down payment would be about, what, $24,000. So if we put 24 in the totals column there under owner's equity. You can see that's almost 20%. It automatically calculated 19.74% as your down payment. So Outside investors, there might be grants that you can get. Let's say you're successful in the pitch competition and you get $5,000 from Ibero. So we'll put $5,000 in as outside investor. This could also be if you have friends or family that are donating or contributing money to your startup. So we need a commercial loan or some other source of funding in the amount of $92,550. If you look down at the line 43, you can see in red the amount that you require to balance the outlays with your funding. So just for the heck of it, let's put 92,550 in the commercial loan category. And then if you look back down at line 43, it says you are fully funded. The interesting thing here too is, and you can change these numbers, for your commercial loan, it's showing a loan rate of 9% in a term of 84 months, which is a principal and interest payment of $14.89 per month. So if you've talked to a banker or have some idea what the rates and the terms that they would allow for you, you can change those numbers. So for example, if our commercial loan rate was 10%, and we could go for more than 7 years, let's say 10 years, let's put 120 instead of 84 under the term in months. So you can see that the payment changed to 12.23. One thing that people tend to do is focus on the interest rate, and they try and get the lowest interest rate so they think they're getting the lowest loan payment. But the real key is extending the term of your loan. That will greatly influence a reduction in your monthly payment to a greater degree than the interest rate reduction would be. The next section down below doesn't really apply to us here because we're all trying to start a business, but if you did, you could put in some beginning entries.
Dave, just a quick recap again. So the owner's equity is what you would put down, what you have to put down,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Before any
Exactly.
loans or outside investors.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the outside investors, like we were talking, could be a grant. It could be friends and family that are giving you money to get started. It's one that doesn't have any requirements for repayment.
This may also include alternative ways of raising funding through
Right.
like online platforms like Indiegogo.
Right, exactly. Yep.
So those are all that will go in here.
Yep. So let's move on now to the next section, which is our payroll.
On it, just a quick moment on this.
Sure.
On the loan side of things, there is a partner that Ibero works with that's called Kiva, and it's in the partner section of the website. Kiva does 0% loans. They're nowhere near the size. You usually start maybe with a 500, 1,000, or 1,500 if you haven't built a history with them. But eventually, as you build a relationship with them, you can go up to 15,000, and the interest rate is always zero. Now, it is a unique platform on how you get accepted because it is based on the network of people. But if you're interested in startup capital and you aren't able to get a grant, or family members are able to pitch in, or maybe you just need a little bit more, Kiva is a great platform, online platform that you can go to. Here in Rochester, if you're in the Monroe County area, we have an office here as well, but it's mostly done online. And we have a direct relationship with Kiva, and we're a trustee of Kiva. So if you ever launch your campaign, we're able to publicly get behind your loan application, which usually boosts your availability to be able to get that loan. So
Yeah,
Don't-
we've worked with Kiva as well. It's a great thing to deal with them.
Is there a way we could get a sheet or something that says, like this, you know, the Kiva, the, you know, what websites we could go to for, grants and stuff like that?
Yes.
That would be helpful.
Let me show you right here where it says resource on the top right. If you click here, it'll take a second to load. Oh, perfect. The first of the ones that loaded up. This is under microlender section, is Kiva. We have other ones, it's just the website takes a little long.
Yeah. Pathstone is a good one too.
Yeah, there are other ones that are across New York State and specific regions. So please make sure to definitely take a look at this part of the site. Over here, we keep adding new partners that come and visit or that want to help our entrepreneurs. So make sure you take a good look at this.
Is everyone clear where Augustine is getting this information? It's just the same site where you get the Zoom link, and it's right up top on the ribbon at the top, where you can also rewatch any of these videos that we're recording tonight and all throughout the whole program.
Great question.
Great, so let's take a look at the next tab, which is our payroll. And for ease, I don't think we'll populate a lot of these, but let's put in, first one is the owner, which would be 1. Yeah, Augustine, I think you have to put just the number, yeah. And you're gonna pay yourself $20 an hour, let's say, in the column C. And you're gonna work 40 hours a week. Now, remember, last time we made some changes to this, where if you don't think you're gonna be taking out your salary right off the bat, you can modify those monthly numbers.
So if you're not taking a salary, then you can just put 0 across the board?
Right.
Okay.
Or you can just skip this section as well.
Right. The other thing is, if you are not going to take a salary in the first year, when you get to the next tab, you could add starting your salary in the second or third year. So let's go back to our, this shows what the increases are each year. And again, you can change those. If you don't think you're going to give yourself a 20% raise from year 1 to 2, you'll make it 3% or 5%, whatever you think is reasonable and is affordable based on what kind of cash flow you have. And as you can see down below, it automatically calculates all your FICA, Medicare, unemployment taxes, and so on. And you can add, if you have health insurance for your employees, you can add that in there. If you have a retirement plan, you can put that in there, profit sharing.
And all of those.
Sorry, could I just ask Dave, first of all, thanks for being here again tonight.
Sure.
So far on this page, the page 2A, payroll year 1, all you've put in has been the number of employees. So I'm putting 1 for myself.
Yep.
Right up top there. And the second one under average hourly pay, I'm putting $20 an hour, whatever.
Mhm.
And then you've estimated the hours of week at 40. So what I'm seeing is like, that's all you've put in so far and everything else populates in the equation there. So it's a lot to look at all of these numbers. It seems like there's a lot to maybe be worried about, but it's all done for you. All you've done is put in these three numbers and everything has calculated
Right.
for you.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Just to further that example, let's go under full-time employees. Let's say we have 5 waitresses. And we pay them $15 an hour. And they're working 30 hours a week. And there you see how it just populated right across. And when we go to 2B, it'll automatically calculate what the annual increases are from year to year based on all those numbers. And again, you can change the increase as you see fit.
Dave, I have a question.
Yes.
So for the first year, let's just say it's going to be Lauren and I and maybe 2 full-time employees trying to run the show, not at full capacity, obviously. But in year 2 and 3, as our service numbers go up, we're going to add more staff.
Mhm.
So how do we do that? Do we just put in the information in the 1 to 3 year?
Right. So on this page, let's say you're adding, since we don't have any in this tab, let's say you hired 2 part-time employees and manually you would calculate what their annual salary would be.
Okay.
So let's just say it's, or you can put them in here. and
Right,
have them-
find the number and then put it in the second page.
Yes, or
Got
the
it.
other thing to do is, because you want to be able to measure what your cash outflows are month by month.
Mhm.
So it's probably better to go back to 2A, put in those future employees, but put in zeros for the first year and whatever part of the second year. So
Got
let's put in our 2 part, or yeah, and they're getting paid the same $15 an hour, but they're only working 20 hours a week. And then if you're not going to pay them in the first year, just put it in a 0. And they just drag that across. So they're not in there, but then if we go to the next page, 2B, we would put in the amount, I forgot what that was on the first page. What was it, 41 something?
Yeah.
Yeah, just put in 41,000 in the second year column. We gotta do the 1, 2, 3, 4 trick here.
Where do we go?
When you go up to, I never can remember this. Is it under view, I think? Where we want to unprotect the sheet. There you go. So if you hit that, then you could put in the 41,000 in second year. So that's one way to do it.
Okay. What is the typical like raise? Is it just the 3% for cost of living?
Well, it depends. You would want to consider the cost of living, but if you're doing performance reviews and you have the cash to pay more than that, I would encourage you to try and do that. But at the same time, if you're not making as much money as you thought you were going to, and you can't give a raise, you can just put a 0 in there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Just keep in mind that when you ask questions, put breaks in between those sentences for the sake of interpretation.
Right. Augustine, can we go back to 2A again? Because I saw a thing in the chat about payroll taxes. Like right now for Social Security, that number is 147,000. So you could put 147. The federal is the same. New York State right now's limit is $12,300. And depending on your business, you might get credits against the federal unemployment tax, but most people just calculate it out just to be safe.
Dave, is that something that we figure out? Is that something that, you know, I'm gonna assume an accountant would tell us what the unemployment tax and all that stuff gets is equated to?
Right, but truth be told, very few people starting their business are going to exceed those wage-based limits, except for the unemployment tax numbers. And those change annually. You can just look at the IRS website, irs.gov, or New York State's tax and finance page, and that has the same. Or just Google state unemployment.
Okay, and that's something that we pay right off the bat, right? Like workers' comp, those are things that we're gonna have to pay into, even though there isn't.
You only have to pay, you don't have to pay workers' comp insurance unless you have employees. If you're a single member LLC, or if you're sole proprietor, you don't necessarily need to have workers' compensation insurance.
But
And that
if you're,
includes 1099s in New York State as well. So if you're hiring contractor, workers' comp is.
okay, this is the part where I kind of get a little nervous because, you know, I don't know how much that's gonna, I mean, obviously we have this sheet that, and it's a guesstimate. Because don't those percentages change every year?
The percentages have stayed stable. It's the wage-based limit dollars that change from year to year. So it's the 147 and the 12.3 that will change. I think the state unemployment goes up to 12.7 next year, and I'm not sure what Social Security does, but if you're working with an accountant, they'll certainly show you that.
Yeah, because that's my question is, how do I know, let's say I have 3 employees, how do I know how much in Social Security, you know, I'm gonna pay and Medicare and all that stuff?
Well, you raise a good point, because for just that reason, most people hire someone like Paychex or some other payroll processing company, because it's a real headache to do payroll. And they do all these calculations and they know the changes in the dollar limits and everything else. And if you shop around, you can find a good payroll company that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. It'll save you more money than you doing or trying to do it yourself.
We definitely second that. We've tried to coaching clients to do this on their own. It's more the time that you spend.
And
Especially
yeah, go ahead.
Taxes and the quarterly ones that you have to put. It's just really better to just hire ADP or someone like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because not only, you know, you could end up having to pay penalties if you don't do it right besides. So it's hire an outside firm to do that for you.
Oftentimes, those companies as well will help you build a employee manual.
Correct.
Or offer HR services, so highly recommend.
Yeah. They do charge for those extra services, but as you grow, you might want to take advantage of those. Okay, we got the payroll done. Let's look at sales now. And we'll keep this simple. We'll just have one product. We can sell widgets. And we're gonna hopefully be selling 100 of those a month. And we charge $25 for each of them. And it costs us $20 to manufacture them. So now if we go down below, you can see that our widgets show the 100 sold. And if we want to, we can just put 100 all the way across, or if we're gonna ramp it up over time slowly because we're just starting off, we could do that. But you can see it automatically calculates your monthly sales, what your cost of goods sold is, and what your gross margin is for each of those. Yeah, that's a good example. Good job.
So I have another question for you.
Sure.
In our example, Nellie and I, if we're doing a bar and we're selling, let's say, beer, and beer comes in a keg, and obviously you're gonna have, you're gonna upcharge that to make a profit on the keg. How do you calculate that?
Well, this is going to sound really weird, but I just did this exercise with another client. A quarter keg has 1,620 pours in the keg. So you can divide whatever it costs you to buy the quarter keg by 1,620 ounces, or pours rather. And that will give you your cost, and then you would build your markup off of that.
Can you repeat that one more time for interpretation purposes?
Sure thing. So for example, if you were to sell beer, as Jackie is going to be doing, you would put in your cost of your keg of beer, divide it by I think it's the number of ounces in the keg. And that'll give you your price per ounce. And then if you're selling 12-ounce glasses or 16-ounce glasses, you would multiply that result by the number of ounces in each glass. And that would be your cost per glass. And then you would figure what your markup is on selling a glass of beer.
I've got a question for you also.
Sure.
So if you're running a cafe, do you have to account for every single item on your menu in this, or can you just like lump certain stuff all together? Like, can I lump coffee and food, or have coffee on one line and food on the other line? Or do I have to like break it up by lattes and drip coffee and all that?
Well, what you probably would do, and I can send this to you or make it available to the folks at Ibero. I have a spreadsheet that shows you each of your menu items, what the cost is for each of the ingredients, and how much of each ingredient goes into each sandwich, each quiche, each glass of beer or wine or whatever. And that way you're able to track the profitability of each of your offerings. But then you, as you're suggesting, you can take that and then put it in as various categories. It might be, you could have lunch as one category, you could have dinner as another one, you could have brunch as another, things like that. And then you would have your, non-alcoholic beverages and alcoholic beverages, and sort of average that stuff out.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Matt, for purposes of this exercise, right? Because you're trying to also come up with the 3-year projections so that the judges can have access to this. It's helpful, right? Like, you're thinking this through, but for the sake of the pitch competition requirements, what we ask of you in this section, especially since you're launching, we always recommend you keep your menu small. because you do not want to expand your menu largely anyway, because then that's an opportunity for you to buy product that might go bad. So keep it small, stay good with what you do, but lump them. So what I would suggest, in one line, have coffee, have the units of coffee you think you're gonna sell, including the latte, the drip, and all that. But then try to come up with the average sales price per unit in that situation, and what the average cost of goods sold will be. Because otherwise you're gonna run out of space for the sake of the projection exercise we're trying to do.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I have a question. Okay. So this, in regards to each line, like product line for the product lines, could you create, say you don't have products, say you have specifically services, right, that you sell. Each product line, to make things a bit more simple, because there's always the concept of creating a, I don't like using this word, but there's the only other word I can use, like a package almost. Would that be its own line? Or, because for example, let me just give you an example. I'll just throw numbers around. Half day rate, let's say $200. That half day rate, $200, includes, let's say 5 images, fully edited, turnaround time 2 weeks, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. That would be its own line. And then, sorry. I'm too fast. All right. I'll make it simple. How would I create a line for a full package that may include multiple things?
You would have that on a separate line, I would suggest, yeah. But then, you would figure out what the selling price would be and what costs might be incurred in providing that service. I've seen, for example, in child daycare, people will put their different product lines by the ages of the kids being served. So you might have, infants, you might have 2 to 5, 5 to 8, 8 to, whatever. And the pricing changes based on the age of the kids. So I think you have the same situation with your services.
So it could be very similar to like the hourly rate, or let's say like half a day rate, that's a price. Full day, that's another line.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So now we can go to the next tab, which is going to show our multiple years. And you can see it's already calculated. And if we back up, you can see it was increased based on 10% increase from year 1 to 2 and 10% from 2 to 3. But you can change these numbers either by changing the percentages or by changing the number of items sold per month. So it's up to you as to how you want to do it. If we go to the next tab, additional information. This is going to show you a bunch of different things that impact your financial projections. One is, what's the minimum amount of cash you want to have on hand at all times? That's further up at the top. So you have accounts receivable, are they all paid within 30 days, or do you offer terms in excess of that? And then below that, accounts payable, are you going to pay all your bills within 90 or within 30 days? Or is it some between 30 and 60? Or some, are you able to get terms to not have to pay for 60 days? And then down below, we indicate what our minimum cash balance is. And when we look at the cash flow statement, which is in tab 6, it will show if you have a shortfall one month because your expenses in that particular month exceed your revenues, it'll automatically draw a line of credit from the bank. And here's your place to put in what you think the interest rate will be on any line of credit borrowings.
For
And-
purposes, can we repeat that one more time?
Sure. So we put in the desired minimum cash balance. And then in the cash flow, which is shown in tabs 6A and B, if for some reason your expenses exceed your income in any one month, it will automatically project a borrowing on a bank line of credit. And you can see that on line
26.
26, there you go. So you can see that we've actually shown that we have some borrowings going on. And down below line 32 and 33 show you how much was borrowed each month and what your ending cash balance is.
And to be clear, when a line of credit comes in handy, it's really when you or why a line of credit would show on this Excel is because on the sales forecast, the 3A and 3B are not having enough to cover for the operating expenses, which is 5A and 5B. Plus
100%.
2A and 2B, and payroll is perhaps going to be the biggest leech of them all, but that's what prompted this.
We didn't put in any operating expenses, but I see we're getting late on time. But if we go to 7B again to show 1 through 3, which this is the sheet that you're going to need to have for your presentation. And it shows our sales each year.
So now, for the sake of the 3-year projections, here's what we require as bare minimum. When you are working on this, and again, you can talk to any of us. Christy's right here on the call. Right here, we have several SCORE mentors like Dave and Irv. We have anyone here at IBC. When you're working on this, we're going to be mainly looking at 3A, which is where you're coming up with the product lines and anticipating the monthly revenue from them. 3B, because it's how we go from 1 year to 3 years. 5A, which is where we're going to be talking about our monthly expenses that we anticipate, and it tells us some of the examples here by month. And 5B, which we then are able to manipulate the increase of rate over year to year. If you just have those 4 basic tabs, you're going to, generally speaking, have a good starting 3-year income statement projection. Now, if you do plan in year 2, year 3, we generally speaking don't recommend that you include payroll in your first year at least. Then you can go to tab 2A and then manipulate it for 2B so that you can start taking income on the 2nd or 3rd year if you think you're gonna generate enough revenue for that kind of expense. But that's only if you anticipate that.
Are you talking just for a company that isn't going to have any employees?
This is for those who are launching, yes, like those sole proprietors or those partnerships. Let's say if you're in partnership and both of you are going to be the employees. We generally will recommend that unless you think you're going to have the cash flow for the payroll. Like say you already have backed up contracts or you really do anticipate that you're going to be able to pay yourself, great. But you have to be very realistic when you're plugging that information in this 3-year projection. Because many of the judges are going to look at the financial projections and they're going to ask, how do you realistically think you're going to start collecting payroll in the first year? Does that make sense? Ultimately, we're just trying to collect 3B. All we want is that once it's done, you literally select it, you copy it and paste it, whether it's in a doc or just save it as a PDF. That alongside your business model canvas, those 2 pages is what the judges are going to look at as you are presenting virtually. And this is going to be taking place next week, Tuesday.
Augustine, will you just repeat what you said about what you want them to copy and paste and to attach to their business model canvas?
Yeah, so tab 7B, which is the income statement year 1 to 3. It's going to show the summary of an anticipated or projection of income and expenses that are going to be generated.
And just so people realize, this is all calculated. They're not filling in 7B. 7B is produced by itself because they went through 3A and 3B.
And 5A.
And 5A and 5B. Just to be clear, like that's something at the end of all that work, they're just going to slide over down at the bottom, click the 7B tab, and it's going to be there for them.
Correct. And some of you may even have information from 2A and 2B, which is payroll.
Thank you.
That's all we need. That's all we need is that 1 page.
Right, basically, the other tabs are showing the judges your assumptions on how you got to 7B.
Yep. Once they ask for more questions, because we've had this before, they dig in. You might have some banker or someone who digs into that because you've populated those numbers. You've known them well. You'll have a good indicator on how that number came about on that financial projection. Thank you so much, Dave. We really
You're
Thank
very
you,
welcome.
Dave. It was
Yep.
awesome.
Like I said, if you need help at any point, the Ibero folks are great to work with. I'm also available. So just send me an email if you need some help.
Thanks, Dave.
Great.
Thank you.
Dave, it's
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
Thank you very much. Really
Dave, can you
appreciate it.
reshare? Oh, I'm sorry, Dave, can you reshare your email, please?
Sure. It's DB Richards, or I should put it in the chat probably, right?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it is in the chat if you scroll up.
Augustine, can I ask you a question? As far as the pitch is concerned, I went online on the website, you put in your name, accept all the stuff and submit it. The kind of attachment that's the business pitch competition judging criteria that you have to fill out. Does that have to be submitted by tonight? Because I don't think I filled that page out.
Not tonight. So for the sake of interpretation, your question was,
sorry,
you logged in, right? You submitted that, yes, I'm moving forward to pitch competition, but I haven't finished my business model canvas or my 3-year projections. That is all right.
No, I did. I finished them.
Oh,
I
great.
sent them to you.
But for clarification, it is all right. This Thursday, we're going to have several mentors that are going to be here, and their role, I'm going to put them all in separate rooms over Zoom. And I'm going to move you guys one at a time to all of those. And you have them one-on-one right there. We strongly urge that you just practice your presentation.
Okay.
And they're going to be your friends who are not judging you or anything. They want you to do your best. So
Okay.
what we recommend is obviously you're going to need the business model canvas and the projections to do your best presentation. But you'll have it essentially until throughout this week to submit it.
Okay, thank you.
Make sure, and it's not just for you, but for the whole class, that take advantage of this resource right here. This is the slide deck. It literally is all the questions that the judge's rubric is judging you on. So this would be a great way for you to plug in your notes. You'll be able to present it, so that way the judges are visually watching something. So I'm gonna present it just like I do with everybody else's presentation. And all you have to do is just verbally talk for on each slide, and I will guide your conversation and answer directly the questions that they're judging you on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Any
Could
other
I
questions?
also, could I just add that we really encourage everyone to participate. This is it's everything you've been saying, everything we've been discussing for the last couple months. Like, you're just going to be answering all the same questions. This is my value proposition. This is the problem I'm solving.
And you'll notice that in gray, we included, sorry to interrupt you, but you
No,
led
it's
to a conversation. You just notice in gray at the bottom, we're literally telling you where the answer is in the business model canvas. So when you're trying to answer that question, you go to that little box. When you're trying to say why, you go to that little box. When you're trying to answer that one, you go to those two boxes, and so on and so forth. Like, we took the time to make sure, hey, go to that section of the business model canvas. That's how you're going to answer that question. You plug that in clearly, you share that clearly. They are in their rubric are going to clearly be able to know, oh yes, they answered that question.
And we're happy to help you finish all of these little details. Just, you have our emails, you have our phone numbers. Feel free to connect with us. But I just want to personally encourage people to participate. It will be fun. You can listen to what everybody else is presenting, and maybe be surprised and learn something new even. And win money.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, sorry, interrupted you.
No, I just was saying it comes with money.
Yeah, the awards are $1,000 per winner. So it's for those especially who are launching, and for those who are like, $1,000, that's not enough. I've already done X, Y, and Z stuff. Then talk about something that you're going to enhance your business with. Think of it that way. For those who are like, I don't know, $1,000 seems that much. Well, then consider that perhaps $1,000 might enhance something about your business. Go directly for the ask. If you invested in me with $1,000, this is what I will do with your money. This is how your money is going to work out for me. And Jackie, yes, you can submit it.
I have a question as well. Do we have to submit the pitch and the financial model before presenting at a specific time?
Yes. So I can tell that this is the question everyone really wants to know. I need to be organized on this on Monday. On Monday is what I'm taking time to organize on this. So take the weekend. If like all the way to Thursday, Friday, take the weekend. But Monday morning, if I don't have it, you don't move forward. Okay, so I need it by Monday, because then I have to like make sure to organize all this stuff and be ready for Tuesday. Does that help?
How do you submit it? Is there an email address that we send it to or something?
Yep. You'll notice that after each class, we always send a mass group email out. Always in that email, you have me, Tanya, and Octavio. So whether you send it to me or one of the other IBC staff members that you build a relationship with, or just all of us, it'll be great to send it to all of us so we all know, but that will be good. You just send it there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you for those who are moving forward on Thursday.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good
Thank you
night.
so much. Muchas
Thank
gracias.
you.
Good
Thank
night,
you, guys.
everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks for hanging in
Thank
there.
you. Good night.
Congratulations.
Bye.